Is there any tangible, physical evidence that the Egyptian Pharaoh Shishak of the Hebrew Bible ever existed? And if so, is there any evidence of his military conquests that are mentioned in the Bible?
Welcome to Faith Affirming Findings, a podcast dedicated to sharing with you
the incredible discoveries from the field of biblical archaeology.
These findings will strengthen your faith, affirm the historicity of Scripture, and provide you with unique insights into the culture and background of the Bible.
Now, here is your host, Associate Professor of Bible Exposition at Dallas Theological Seminary,
Dr. Paul Weaver.
I am recording today's faith-affirming finding video from Karnak Temple here near modern-day Luxor. An incredible faith-affirming finding was discovered here surrounding Pharaoh Shishak. It is called the Shishak Relief. The Shishak Relief was discovered at the Karnak Temple here. The Karnak Temple is located just north of Thebes, modern-day Luxor, on the east side of the Nile River. The Shishak Relief was discovered on a wall of the entrance to the temple of the Egyptian god Amun. In the 1820s, it was realized that these hieroglyphics were recounting Pharaoh Shishonq, or Shishak in the Bible, his military campaign in Canaan. The Karnak Temple of Amun is believed to have been the construction project of multiple successive pharaohs. It is massive in size, and there was nothing comparable to it in the ancient world. The Shishak Relief includes three components. First, a smiting scene by Shishak. Second, a scene with Shishak's god Amon, which includes cartouche rings or name rings of conquered cities. And third, an inscription recording Amon's speech. On the right side of the relief is the smiting scene. This was common for Egyptian triumphal reliefs. Shishak is believed to be raising a weapon in one hand, holding his captives by the hair in the other hand, and is in the process of striking his captives. These captives are Asiatic in appearance, and they are presented with hands raised, begging for mercy from their captor. Portions of this part of the relief have been greatly damaged, and much of it requires your imagination. In the second scene on the left side of the relief is Shishak's god Amon. He is depicted with his famous double-feathered crown. See also the video on the Merneptah stele, which also depicts Amun-Ra on it, with his famous double-feathered crown. Amon is depicted with ropes in one of his hands. These ropes are attached to prisoners of war who are bound by the rope. The prisoners are also pictured bound to other prisoners with ropes around their necks. The prisoners' torso areas are in the form of cartouches or name rings. A cartouche is an oval with Egyptian hieroglyphics inside. Within each of these cartouches are names of cities, many of which are from Judah and Israel, that Shishak claims to have conquered. Although not all of the name rings have survived antiquity, it is estimated, based on the spacing and number of rows, that there were approximately 187 cartouches. Each of these cartouches would represent a city that was conquered. The third part of the relief is the inscription recording Amon's speech to Shishak. It is located in the upper left-hand side of the relief and flows around the top and to the right of the side of Amon. A portion of the hieroglyphics, when translated, reads, "Welcome in peace, my dear son. You have struck down the flatlands and foreign countries. Your power is victorious over all lands. You have gone forth in victory. You have returned in valor. You have united the flatlands. Served up for you are all the foreign countries, ignorant of Egypt, who dared to infringe on your boundaries. I have caused their heads to roll. I imparted victory to your actions, whom I love, for you came forth from me to be my champion. I am your father, the Lord of the gods, Amun-Ra. I will cause your valor to be remembered even hereafter throughout everlasting." This speech, supposedly from the lips of Amon, designed to boast of the military exploits of Shishak and to proclaim them to have been enabled by Shishak's god, Amon, who is proud of his so-called son. In 1925, another very significant discovery was revealed. A team from the University of Chicago discovered a 15-inch fragment of Shishak's Victory Stele. This inscription was uncovered hundreds of miles away from Karnak Temple in Megiddo, one of Solomon's fortified cities. See also 1 Kings 9:15. This provides further corroboration to the story recorded on this entrance to the Karnak Temple. The fragment of the Victory Stele is 15 inches and identifies the commissioner of the stele, Pharaoh Shishak himself. His birth name is on the right cartouche. His throne name is on the left one. It is believed that Shishak would have posted this Victory Stele at Megiddo after he took control of this important city. An Egyptian pharaoh by the name of Shishak is mentioned several times in the book of 1 Kings and 2 Chronicles. He is first mentioned in 1 Kings 11:40. After rebelling against Solomon, Jeroboam fled to Egypt for safety. Shishak provided protection for Jeroboam, who would have been Solomon's enemy at the time, until Solomon's death. Shishak is mentioned in parallel accounts found in 1 Kings 14 and 2 Chronicles 12. 5 years after Solomon's death and the rupture of the United Kingdom into two separate kingdoms, Shishak exploited their weakness and led a military campaign against Judah and King Rehoboam. The chronicler states that Shishak's military victories were because Israel forsook the law of the Lord and they had been unfaithful to the Lord. In Shishak's military campaign, he conquered the fortified cities of Judah, but because they humbled themselves in response to God's declaration of judgment, the city of Jerusalem was spared from destruction. The Shishak Relief and accompanying inscriptions is indeed faith-affirming on many counts. First, the Shishak Relief and Victory Stele affirm that there was indeed a historical pharaoh named Shishak, just as the Bible states. Second, the timeline of Shishak's rule, 945 to 925 BC, as recorded in Egyptian sources, indicates that Shishak was indeed a contemporary of Solomon and continued to rule after Solomon's death and during the divided kingdom, just as the Bible records. Third, the Shishak Relief and Inscription, as well as the destroyed remains of Gezer, affirm the historicity of events described in 1 Kings 14 and 2 Chronicles 12. Shishak led a successful military campaign against Judah, just as the Bible indicates. Fourth, many cities identified on the Shishak Relief in the name rings are ancient Israelite cities that have been definitively identified, including but not limited to Gezer, Gaza, Beth-horon, Gibeon, Beth-shean, and Megiddo. Fifth, the city of Jerusalem is not listed as a city conquered by Pharaoh Shishak, which is exactly what the Bible states. Sixth, and finally, the fragment of the Victory Stele discovered at Megiddo offers additional corroboration of Shishak's military campaign in Canaan in general and Megiddo in particular. The Shishak Relief provides great confidence in the historicity and reliability of Scripture. And that is your faith-affirming finding of the week.
Faith Affirming Findings podcast is a listener-supported podcast devoted to affirming your faith in the reliability of Scripture and illuminating your understanding of Scripture.
If you would like to help sponsor the Faith Affirming Finding podcast,
You can make a tax-deductible donation of any amount, large or small,
at faithaffirmingfindings.com. That's faithaffirmingfindings.com and click on the Give tab.
We hope you'll join us again next week for another exciting Faith Affirming Finding.